So always dress up according to the situation. Always dress up what suits you the best. Do not hesitate to experiment, but know yourself. Know your.
Hello, guys. This in my hand right here is the book named How to Talk to Anyone. Hopefully, you would have read this book, and if not, then worry not. Today, I am here to summarize this book, but before I do it, although I have read this book completely, after reading this book, I gained a treasure of knowledge. So, I thought, why not to share it with all of you? But if I do it through my mouth, it will still not be as effective as if I could get a personality who is expert in communication field. Today, I'm quite privileged enough to be sharing this interview with one and only Shivangi ma'am. So I'm sharing this conversation with one and only our dear Shivangi ma'am. She has been so courteous and nice to take some time out for this conversation. So I would like to thank her, and I'm so grateful for you to making this conversation happen. Thank you so much. And now I would like you to please introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you so much, Sahil, for considering me and coming to me and connecting me with for this video of yours. And the concept, I think it's quite interesting. So I'm Shivani Dape, and it's been 23 years almost now since I've been working in the film and television industry and academics for media, film, and television.
Like I have introduced her already in my video, she holds a great expertise in the communication field. So I would like to request her to please answer to some of my questions. And my first question begins: what is, in your opinion, does communication really mean, and how do you truly define it?
So communication, if you get into the process and you want to get the correct meaning, communication is communicating or talking to somebody or exchanging the ideas with people or within yourself itself. Communication can be interpersonal and intrapersonal. You all are mass communication students. You're very much aware about that, but the audience might not be knowing that. So communication is a process where you exchange your ideas, your thoughts, and you communicate either with yourself or to the masses or maybe one or two people together. When it comes to defining it properly or how communication process works, we can exactly go to the point where we say that communication can only happen successfully when the sender of the message and the receiver of the message are on the same page. How the message has been encoded, and how that message has been interpreted by the receiver are on the same page. Because of the disturbances, because of the noises, or maybe because of your body language or expressions, there could be a possibility that you are saying something, but the message is not getting into the same tone or with the same meaning or interpreted by the receiver in the same manner.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Like ma'am truly defined it beautifully. And even through this video, whatever ma'am just said, this is being encoded, right? And if this the same message, the same definition, the true meaning of it is not interpreted by the audience, then the communication will obviously fail. So what we are trying to say, and if you exactly mean the same, then the communication will be called successful. So that was a beautiful definition. Now moving on to, as the name of the book suggests, how to talk to anybody. There's a friend of mine who says that communication only happens when there is a need. So there is no room for hesitation. But still, there are times that we communicate with people, those who are there where there is no need. Such as I travel with bus every day for an hour, and I happen to meet so many people and I talk to them. So I would like to ask you how to approach any random person and initiate a conversation comfortably.
So, like how we meet people and सफर है आपका बहुत लोग मिलते हैं. So usually a lot of people hesitate how to start the conversation because you never know what kind of temperament the other person is having. So to check if you really want to observe and if you really want to start a conversation with a complete stranger, you need to check the temperament, and to check the temperament or the sort of interest, you need to start a conversation with a very polite note, or maybe just saying, what kind of weather is it? Don't you think it's too summery? So a conversation on a lighter note to get to know what the other person is interested in.
Like to match the mood of the person.
Exactly, and probably whether the person will be interested or not, because you never know what the person has been through, what kind of day the person might have been having that particular moment. So there could be a possibility, like for example, last week I went to my home and I met a lady in the bus. It was too exhausting for me because there was traffic jam and everything. Bus got stuck, and also I was quite stressed because my brother had an accident. So I looked at her and I said, "It's too hectic. I don't know when this jam is going to over. I need to get to my home as early as possible." And I was crying. And that female, she looked at me, and then she smiled, and then I again uttered like how I am talking to myself. I pretended that I am talking to myself, and I said, "Oh, pani bhi nahi hai." So within that very next moment, she said, "Oh, there's something for you. I do have something for you." And she, she brought out that maza from her bag, and she said, "I have this for you." I said, "Oh, thank you so much." And then I sipped it, and I saw Ganpati's statue there, and I said, "Bhagwan hai." And then she laughed and she said, "You've been through so much since I've been noticing you, and I wanted to start a conversation with you, but I couldn't. I had no idea how to start a conversation because I could see and I could notice that you've been going through something difficult, right?" So this is one example, how you check and you try to initiate a conversation with somebody who's already hesitant, who was trying to connect with you, was trying to start a conversation. So this is the way, this is one example. So there also you can initiate a conversation like, rather, either, "Oh, how nice, I like your shoes. You definitely have an amazing dressing sense." Calming down the person, considering and checking that, knowing that the person is stressed because of the interview pressure, you came out with an idea and you brought up the conversation with the dressing sense. It boosts up the confidence, it brings the person to a positive note, and the person will get into the conversation.
Beautiful explanation, and I love the example too. Like now that we have understood, there is a tremendous benefit of talking to strangers. Who knows? You can be offered a bottle of maza as well if you intend to talk to others. And I still remember I was trying to get frank with other person. I was in an examination hall that was a competitive exam, so the watch was not allowed. So the person sitting next to me, I offered my watch to him because he had come there by his scooty. So I just told him to put the watch in his scooty, and by the time the examination gets over, please give it back to me. So I was trying to be frank with the person. When I came out of my examination hall, the person and the scooty both were gone, along with my watch. So, like, life is all about taking risk, guys. Please go ahead and do so. Alright, moving on to my third question, and that is, give me some top notch ways that a person needs to keep in their mind before talking to anybody. Some of the ways that I should know and before talking to one.
So that's a really interesting question because without communication, I don't think that human race can survive. So language, we are moved that we can speak. There are species who cannot. So for communication, starting a communication with somebody or anywhere where you want to be a part of an already existing conversation that is happening, you need to focus on where you stand among the crowd. What is your level? So that you can behave accordingly. Like you have to be respectful always to the people whom you are talking to. Make sure that you're not hurting anyone's sentiments. Be polite. Always make sure, if it is a professional conversation, make sure to avoid slangs. Make sure to avoid jargons. Make sure to avoid fillers. Avoid that. And the clarity, as much as clear conversations, polite conversations without any manipulation, initiated with a transparent, with a pure heart, unbiased focus or unbiased perspective, will always help. Also, you need to understand, while communicating with somebody, there has to be regular contact. Eye contact has to be maintained. You cannot do that like you started a conversation and then other person is answering your question, but then you're fiddling with your phone. Yes, or probably you're looking outside, or probably you're barging in the conversation, and the person who get into your conversation part might not find it disrespectful. and probably will deviate and will be disinterested in talking to you further. So this is how you can probably get into a proper, well, respectful conversation where even you will be accepted as a part of the discussion.
So, as we just have seen that ma'am has highlighted 5 ways that are very important to be kept in mind before talking to anybody. And I would also like to add on to something or probably emphasize on something that you said. I've heard that there's a great importance of listening to the person. I always believe that in a conversation, the talking should be 20% and listening should be 80%. Then the conversation becomes an extensive because any human being loves to talk about themselves. If you want the other person to not feel bored, talk to them, talk about them, ask them questions. And eye contact is very, very important. Somewhere this study shows that only about 12 to 15% of your verbal communication matters in a communication. Rest of the 70 to 80% communication comprise of your non-verbal communication, and hence eye contact proves is proven to be a very effective technique. When you listen to someone with an eye contact, the person feels heard, the person feels respected, and the person feels that what I'm sharing is valuable, what I'm putting on the platter or table is being heard. So that is very important in a conversation to make your speaker feel so. All right, moving to the next question, and that is, what are some good qualities about a good personality? Tell us, how can we enhance our personality? Like, give me some points that I can work upon and enhance it.
Important question. And I think everyone should focus on that because whenever you enter a space, you are noticed as a personality. So you need to focus on how you should present yourself, not just in terms of how you're carrying yourself, but everything from pillar to post, from tip to toe. So the first thing is you need to understand what suits you the best, from hair to your toenail. What suits you the best according to, just love the way you look, the way you are, and groom yourself with that frame. Do not think that okay, that is the person who's taller than me and probably the person is thinner than me. Oh, I wish if I would have been like her or like him. So rather, be comfortable, love yourself, be confident on the way you are, but always work towards your grooming, work towards your own growth, no matter if in terms of communication. So let's start from the personality. Haircut, it should not be shabby. You need to have a clean hair, no matter if it is a female or a male. Always make sure that wherever you are going for a professional conversation or you are representing yourself in public or society, in a group of people, you need to be presentable and you need to prepare yourself according to the occasion. So always dress up according to the situation. Always dress up what suits you the best. Do not hesitate to experiment, but know yourself, know your body, know your face, know your complexion. Everyone is beautiful. Then tidy is one thing that you need to understand. Shabby is not the word that is considered presentable. So make sure that you, and overdone. Sometimes you might see that a person is wearing a tie also, wearing a tuxedo also, wearing a three-piece suit also, but it's still not looking good because sometimes you overdo according to the occasion. Then there's one thing that you always wear smile. That is also a part of your personality. And the last thing is be yourself. Be the one who you are. Be the way who you are.
All right, moving to the last question of this show. And the question is, tell me something that I should not do when I meet any stranger from the next time.
That is one question that can be called as a good question according to the conversation, because we have been focusing on till now what to do, how to do, but what not to do is also a big question. So, in such a scenario, when you are trying to initiate a conversation with a stranger, A, do not get into something which could be offensive for the person. Do not pass any personal comment. Always avoid conversations related to religion. Always make sure that you try to figure out what could be the interest of the person, or what is the level of the comfort for that particular person. So do not jump into a conversation which could offend the person. So always remember, do not get into any offensive conversation, or any conversation that could rise up to an argument. Avoid that. Be polite. Always be polite and respectful, no matter the person sitting next to you, or in a room where you enter is younger to you, but always be respectful to whomsoever you are talking to.
So, like ma'am just has pointed out so many points, what not to do. And there's a thing that one of my faculty also taught me. In the world of journalism or mass communication, what needs to be done is equally important as what not needs to be done. So, kindly keep this in mind and do not spark a debate in the first meeting. Always keep your questions quite polite, courteous, and friendly. And there was a beautiful quote that if you want the honey, you do not kick the bee. So kindly don't criticize, condemn, and complain anybody. Doesn't matter how much do you know them. Nobody likes to be disrespected and insulted. Even if my father says something bad to me, I'll be offended by my father. So forget about a random person. So thank you so much, guys. I hope you would have enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next video. And I hope you would have learned so much from this. Thank you.